A bipartisan group of senators say they are making progress in discussions around gun legislation following the tragedy in Uvalde.
But there is this long history of similar talks failing because of opposition from many Republicans and organizations like the well-funded NRA. Many people point to the Second Amendment to say that gun rights are guaranteed. Texas Senator Ted Cruz spoke at the annual NRA convention just days after the Uvalde shooting and said, quote, "Rarely has the Second Amendment been more necessary to secure the rights of our fellow citizens." But the gun debate has oftentimes centered around the language of the Second Amendment. And here it is. Many argue the amendment involves the right to guns in connection to militia service.
However, the Supreme Court ruled in the landmark 2008 case District of Columbia versus Heller, the Second Amendment protects an individual's right to gun ownership. But two former Supreme Court clerks for Justices Scalia and Stevens say America is getting Heller wrong. Quote, "Heller does not totally disable government from passing laws that seek to prevent the kind of atrocities we saw in Uvalde, Texas." So joining us now is Professor Joseph Blocher. He is the Lanty L. Smith 67 Professor of Law at Duke University and co-director of Duke Center for Firearms Law. Professor Blocher, welcome. It's great to see you. A professor that studies firearms law is exactly the kind of person we need to talk to these days. So let's bring up that article again. Former Supreme Court clerks Shaw and Bash write, quote, "Most of the obstacles to gun regulations are political and policy-based, not legal. It's laws that never get enacted rather than ones that are struck down because of an unduly expansive reading of Heller." So what is your take on that assessment?
I think that Kate Shaw and John Bash in that fantastic op-ed have it exactly right, and that people who invoke Heller as if it is, some ironclad wall against gun regulation just haven't read the whole opinion, because Justice Scalia, in his majority, makes it very clear that nothing in the opinion should cast doubt on longstanding prohibitions like those on possession of weapons by felons or the mentally ill, or possession of weapons in sensitive places like schools and government buildings. What that does is leave us a political space to choose to fill with gun regulation, whether it be expanded background checks or extreme risk laws, often known as red flag laws. Thus far, we've failed to do that by and large as a nation, but that's not the fault of the Constitution. That's a matter of political choice.
How do you view the Heller decision in the context of the original Second Amendment text? Did you just mention that?
Yeah, the Heller decision was one that was heavily rooted in historical reasoning. Justice Scalia, as was his preference as an originalist interpreter of the Constitution, relied very heavily on historical sources, although so did Justice Stevens in his, of the two dissents, the primary dissent. I think what that shows is that the historical materials here are divided about whether the Second Amendment protects the individual right to keep and bear arms for purposes like self-defense against criminals, or whether it's instead limited to what are often called organized militia. My own view is that Heller is its doctrine, it is precedent, it's not going anywhere, and that's fine, at least for now, as far as the status of gun regulation in this country. The Supreme Court, at least so far, it has another current case pending, has not erected obstacles to the kind of mainstream gun regulation that the vast majority of Americans favor, things like expanded background checks. We're just not yet at the limits that the Supreme Court has set out as a matter of constitutional law.
So that's Supreme Court constitutional law, but when you think about the debate, it comes down to a single phrase. Any type of gun reform or legislation is characterized as folks are coming to take your guns. It seems very powerful, very effective. Where does that come from? Why is that such a powerful message that helps resist these types of reforms?
I would say two things about it. One is that it's ahistorical. The right to keep and bear arms has coexisted with gun regulation since the founding of this country. In fact, many forms of gun regulation we saw in the founding era are stricter than anything we have on the books today, like registration requirements that you display your guns at militia muster, prohibitions on storing gunpowder in the home. In fact, even if you go out to the supposedly Wild West, towns like Dodge City, Kansas, and Tombstone, Arizona, you find prohibitions on taking your gun within the city limits. You could have it on the range, but when you got to the city, you had to check it. We've departed from that tradition, again, as a matter of political choice, and I think some people have come to believe believe, and especially over the past few decades as a result of a very well-funded and coordinated campaign, that gun regulation is some kind of modern invention, and it's just not. You can look back centuries, even before the founding of the country, to medieval Britain, and find examples of weapons regulation like the famous, maybe not to readers, but famous to those in the famous to listeners, but to those in the area of gun law, the Statute of Northampton from 1328,
Right.
which you saw the Supreme Court invoke as an argument.
Professor Blocher, it seems to me that a lot of it has become cultural rather than legal. Like you have the hardening of two sides, people who say we're gun people and you're not gun people. And that's about as far as the argument goes, when obviously there's a lot more intricacy and detail involved to gun legislation. So how do you suggest as a society we get over that hardening? Because it seems to me that's where we are right now, right? Where people who even suggest the tiniest bit of common sense legislation are suddenly on the other side, right? So how do we deal with that part of it?
My experience has been that the more specific you are with the kinds of policies that you're considering, the easier it is to find common ground. So background checks are a great example here. Depending on the poll, 75 to 90% of Americans support expanded background checks. It's not a partisan issue. About 3/4 of gun owners, 3/4 of NRA members support this. So when people call me to say, what part of shall not be infringed in the Second Amendment don't you understand? Don't you know that gun regulation is unconstitutional? I'll often ask, well, what about violent felons? Do you think they should have guns? Well, of course not. What about people who commit crimes of domestic violence? Should they have guns? Well, of course not. Well, how should we keep guns away from those people? Well, when they purchase guns, maybe we should check and see if they have oh, right, that's what background checks are. I think that the more you ask those kinds of specific questions, the easier it is to get over that cultural divide, which I agree is a big one. The other thing I think we can think about is that gun laws don't have to look the same everywhere in the United States. Openly carrying a rifle in a rural area of upstate New York sends a very different message than it does if you're walking down, Fifth Avenue with that same gun. And so maybe there are ways to sort of tailor our gun laws to accommodate the sort of traditional local variation.
Let's hope so. As you know, the Supreme Court is ruling on that very case right now about New York State. We'll find out very soon where it comes down on that one. So, Professor Joseph Blocher, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your insight.
Thank you for having me.